Hi. Okay, we had to pause it because I forget that time exists sometimes
In this PS2 game.
in this PS2 game in the real world. Okay, no one of them went back here. Um, but I want to keep talking about scary stuff and horror stuff because I am a huge horror fan. Um, hold the phone. Yeah, I am.
I am. That is me. I'm a hard worker.
Okay, pause.
I thought we would have leveled up, but whatever.
Yeah,
Oh, social studies.
cool. Yeah, it's it's not yours.
He gave it to you. Did you see he gave it to him?
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, am I the new chief monk? Oh, never mind.
Take his place for the rest of your life. Sorry.
We have to go up to the temple.
Only because that wouldn't go.
Or we have to find the wooden gong?
If you can find it, I'll give you the love ink.
Okay, we have to go hunting for it.
Okay.
But I guess we'll look around here for a while we talk.
Yeah, perfect. Anyways, as I was saying, I am and have always been a huge horror fan. When I was little, in the age of creepypastas were up, I would read them and look into them for hours. I would scare myself shitless every freaking night. I loved it so much.
Why aren't you reading anything? I'm sorry.
I'm afraid it's gonna like kill my health.
Oh.
Okay. I think they're just graves too. Yeah, and even now, like, I still look up stuff, like, all the time. Like, my newest thing was searching up everything about the creation of Silent Hill, because that was really interesting. And I'm starting to collect, like, Junji Ito books because his comics are really good. Bro, I love it. I can't get enough of the spooks.
It's the horror genre, as you know, for me, is like a real give and take. I am more inclined to enjoy it when it's in a video game format than in like a movie format. I'm not sure why. Maybe it might just be because
I found a hole. Sorry.
Maybe it might just be because of like the American horror is just kind of bad. I don't like it. And like anything else is just too scary for me. Like I think it mostly is the imagery. I can't do it. But I don't know why, but video games, like having that sense of control kind of...
Oh my god, no, shut up. I was telling Mom about this when we were talking... Hold up, hold the phone. I'm so sorry.
Hello, Voodoo Doll Life. He's 13?
Oh, stop.
What do you do down here? Shut up, no.
That's so sad.
I'm gonna cry.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to that because these remind me of like the flowers in anime when like somebody's dying.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a graveyard.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have a meaning.
God, should I keep looking or should I go back?
Fuck. The next train isn't until 6. So you should probably head back to the station.
Okay, I'll do my best. I was just talking to Mom about that because I was saying that one of the concepts that fail within horror movies, besides, you know, when you're talking about a book adaptation, besides the fact of, you know, you see what you want, like, within a book, obviously, is the concept of, I saw this in a video, I think it was Super Eye Patch Wolf's one of his videos, the concept of the page turning, which makes...
What? The...
How was I supposed to see that coming?
Oh no, it gives us time to talk at least.
Okay. I don't know the last time I saved. Anyways, I'm gonna keep talking. Shut up, don't look at this. Close your eyes while I get back to where we were. Is the concept of the page turner and why video games and books are so instrumental into horror is because you know something scary is gonna happen, you know something scary is gonna pop up, but you have to initiate it. If you sit down and you watch a movie, no matter what you do, the story will continue on. If you close your eyes, the story's going to continue. Like, if you know, whatever you do, it's going to keep going. But for you to continue a story in a book or a comic or in a video game, you have to
Continue it yourself
continue
when
it
you're ready.
yourself. Yeah. And have to deal with the consequences. Is if you get scared, it's all your fault because you did not have to turn that page. And I was trying to tell that to Mom, and I'm like, I just found out about this recently. I think it's one of the most interesting things because when it comes down to it, you have nothing but yourself to blame if you get scared. And she like didn't get it. Of course, she's not a deep thinker.
She's not a deep thinker like us.
Oh my god.
Don't count me out.
Sorry. I'm just mad because I have to do all of this again.
I know. Well, I also think too there is a difference in books and video games because video games have to do this while books don't necessarily. In video games, you always have a sense of support. There, whether that's a character or like a prop or a safe zone, you have a sense of support that you feel you can trust on and gives you a sense of security in like a scary environment. Like, and I think that helps too with the horror genre.
Are you talking about kind of like a safe room too?
Yeah.
Where you have a sense of you're safe while you're in danger?
Exactly. Like it's the sense of like, no matter what, you'll reach a point or you'll get to, or like if you have too much, you know, or you get too scared, you can return to a safe room or you can talk to like the NPC that you're with for some sense of security and some sense of ground reality that you're able to take yourself out of this, for personally me, this anxiety inducing situation if it gets too much. But books can't necessarily do that because what video games have the upper hand in is that they can do this while still keeping you in the world, if that makes sense.
It does. Go, but
Taylor.
Go. My God. Okay. That's like the skill of a book though, is knowing when to put the tension and the stress and the anxiety on and when to pull back.
Right.
I have I like going back to Juji Ito because he has such a wide range of stories with different concepts, and his stories are relatively easy to read. They're relatively short, so anybody could pick it up and read it. Not all of his stories hit home. Like obviously they're you know, some do, some don't, but some of his best books, they work because they do, if they're a short story, like, you know, they're good at either it's stressed for the whole 10 pages, or if it's a longer story, he knows like when to reel back and when to go back in. But I understand what you're saying. Once again, with the game, you can still be in the environment while still be at ease. Like with the book, you have to put it down to calm back down.
Yeah, and I think what I was saying too is like, it's easier to make, in my opinion, I guess, if it was me, it would be easier to make a horror video game because the pressure isn't so much on you, because it's like the player gets to decide when their tension is and when their not tension is. I believe, personally for me, maybe some people feel differently, it's more difficult to be a horror writer because that's up to you.
Yeah.
The pressure's on you to fill in where the reader is going to put the tension, where you get to set the tension and the resting places. So I feel like in a video game that's easier to implement because the player gets to choose that, because you have things like safe spaces, you know, NPCs, or even, you know, like little fairies or whatever. You know, I can think of like a bunch, like in Ib, you have Gary, like that's just always there, and like a sense of security. Like you said, like in Resident Evil, you have these safe rooms that like play that nice quiet music where you find it and you can just like,
you can stay there for like as long as you want.
There's no time limit. You can regain yourself for as much as you want, like things like that. So I think that's probably why I prefer video games, because there's that sense of control and there's sense of, if it gets too much for me, I have I don't have to leave that reality in order for me to get a sense of calmness. I have a character that I can go to for comfort. I have a room that I can go to for comfort, but still be within the realm of like the story.
Right.
So it's like I'm still living this long story, but it doesn't take as big of a toll on me as watching a movie or reading a book.
Right. Well, that's where, once I learned the concept of, you know, the page turner, once again, of you taking that initiative to continue the story, even though you know it's not going to be good.
Right.
It changed my experience in movies. Like specifically horror, just because once again, it gives you more stress and more tension than just a regular movie. Because should I go for a different character or should I go back?
Well, you gotta do the zombie.
That's true.
And I mean,
because I could
might
go
as
to the
well-
train tracks.
might as well go back to the guy so you at least flag that you talk to him. So if we end up finding it, we don't have to play games. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Cause I mean, okay, obviously I'm not some professional like movie critic, but it's just interesting to kind of gauge like those moments of stress and how long they take. Which is just like, I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and analyze a movie. That's not fun. But like sometimes, like it's interesting because me and my mom within quarantine recently watched Midsummer and Heredity, which are like two big like they're not like, I guess you could count them as like thrillers almost. They weren't, Heredity was specifically horror. I think Midsummer was more thriller. It's triangle. Very long, slow burn movies. And it was just interesting to me to see the period of like stress and anxiety and, you know, this tension building up. And then periods of release where most of the time what happened was there wasn't a character on screen. It was a setting. It was, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that was their release of the stress, was the absence of characters.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we missed the
Oh,
time.
okay. That's cool.
We must have missed it.
Oh, shit. Well, we're going up here. I don't know. It was just, it's like, oh, that's where the temple is.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I have to go back down and talk to him. I don't know. It was just, like, interesting. It was cool to see.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back down and talk and then come back to him.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting, especially because video games are nowadays more than ever, and I'm very excited about that. Video games are more accepted as a type of media and a type
Yeah.
of not just storytelling, but it's just more accepted than just the general, like, it's just something for you to do when you don't want to work kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's like a form of art now, and I really appreciate that. I'm glad it's being seen as that. Because that's where I want to go into anyway. I don't want to go into
Right.
movie and film, fuck that.
Right.
And I really like that because I think it's a really great way to tell stories, and especially horror. Like, I do love horror games, especially when they're done wonderfully. I love the horror RPGs,
Yeah.
even the ones that are done terribly, like, you know, you watch a mediocre movie, a horror movie, and you're like, well, that was kind of wasting my time, but like, you play like a bad or a mediocre horror game, and you make fun of it, and you have fun still. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, no matter what, like, Silent Hill Shattered Memories, like, it's shitty.
Oh my god, that was so goofy.
It's a terrible game, but like, you have a good time, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like I never lose. I'm trying to think of other horror games that I've played, because I usually just play a lot of horror RPG, but I know I played a few
Donate some
more,
money.
I guess. 40 cents ain't gonna get us anywhere. Oh, just donate 10.
That gives me health back, I think.
Yay. No, it's just good omen. What other horror games have we played? Do you remember? That might be the sun.
Over here. Yeah, one of my interests have with horror games, I said this like a little bit earlier. Can I talk to you? Hang on.
Oh,
Belle,
Belle.
what's up?
I'm Potty.
Potty.
Oh, I thought he was dead. Yeah.
Oh, you can go anywhere in the temple freely, but there's one thing. You can't ding the bell in the temple. No, I'm supposed to find like a sticker or something, right?
We need a wooden bell or something.
If you do something terrible, it's gonna happen. Understood?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I wasn't listening, but I'll say yes. I'll go to this hole too.
Oh, yeah. Found a hole.
think the Resident Evil series is very interesting because it started off with, first of all, it was just with the camera angles and stuff. That was created because of the video game's restriction on what the game could handle, like the unit itself could process. So I think that in itself is very interesting.
That's always an interesting thing with older games. Like
Their limits are their strong points.
Right, they base it off of what they can accomplish.
Movies.
That is true.
And how it started, a lot of, in my opinion, earlier horror games, or even horror games most commonly, the main character that you are is somebody that you can try to relate to.
Yeah, right.
And that was, I should not hit that. That is something that Resident Evil didn't do, because in the first game you were a suited up cop with training, a soldier. And even with that, there was some vulnerability, but enough where you could defend yourself. And slowly the game morphed into, I'll go in the house, or the temple. It morphed into, I know one of the games, you were like a super soldier with machine guns and overly powerful. So I just thought it was interesting that it turned into that. Oh shit, that was the bell.
Oh, no. Oh. We're entering the temple.
But then at the most recent one, which is either 7 or 8, they pulled it back to you are a very weak and vulnerable person where you can't control your surroundings and where you get hurt. And I know in like one of the opening sequences, like you lose an arm. It's like the sense of vulnerability, which they pulled back to. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. Like they took that drastic turn of that's probably gonna give me health. A big mecha, like machine, guns ablazing, back to like you have one arm and an axe, and you have to make it through, because that's what's scary. I don't know how that game series morphed into
like a shooter, like just straight up,
Because the core of it was the horror and the mystery. I don't know, and I heard. I heard. The shoot 'em up one was fine, but it like just wasn't a Resident Evil.
It's not a horror. It's fine, but it's not a horror.
Yeah. Come back.
The Witch of the West.
No.
She's gone.
No. But yeah. Anyways, this was another longer episode. Maybe a couple more will be long because we're having some good old fun conversations, and I could talk about horror stuff for hours and hours. But we'll see you next time on the next episode, and we'll try to get one of our mysteries done. So, see you later.